Good evening, scholars, and welcome back to the Restricted Collection, a podcast about tabletop games. This evening, we are going to be discussing, over Haster's slight squeak toying, the recent Grimoire update for Arkham Horror, the card game. And I said we were joined by our liaison to the Silver Twilight Lodge, Nick. Hi, Nick.
Hello, hello.
Are you ready to FAQ it up?
Let's back it up.
So, the Grimoire is Arkham Horror Chapter 2's FAQ, basically. They're calling it a separate. They're not calling it an FAQ, but it's the collected rules reference, however you want to put it. And they updated it today. A lot of what they're updating seems to be like, yeah, there's some errata that they're fixing to clean some cards up, and they're kind of explaining how certain cards and certain interactions work. So if you want to go take a look at this, I'll try to remember to put a link in for looking at the Grimoire. Everything that's new is in red text, and we're just going to go through it and briefly talk about it. So, first up in the Section 1 glossary of terms and keywords, under Act Deck and Agenda Deck, they have just clarified specific cards and specific wordings in things. Super fancy. But action. By default, an investigator gains 3 actions at the beginning of their turn. These actions may then be spent to take basic actions or not basic actions, activate actions, triggered abilities, or other additional costs for other abilities and effects. So in Chapter 1, you would get your actions during upkeep. Now you get them at the start of your turn.
I remember a couple years ago when you clarified that to me. And I looked at you dumbfounded. I'm like, that's probably the stupidest thing ever. It's so unintuitive that to to learn that you get all your actions in the upkeep, but you don't spend them to your turn.
Yeah, the weird thing is just like if you have a Mythos card, or sorry, card during the Mythos phase that's like lose an action. Well, technically, I don't have any actions right now. But yeah, they specify if an investigator is instructed to lose 1 or more actions outside of their turn, they have that many fewer actions to take during their next turn.
Yeah, that's just the best way to do it.
Some card abilities instruct an investigator to immediately take an action. When resolving such an ability, that investigator is considered to immediately gain and then spend an action in order to perform an eligible action type, usually determined by the ability itself. That's fine. If an investigator engaged with 1 or more enemies resolves an ability that causes them to take an action, they trigger attacks of opportunity from those enemies if applicable. Yeah, that all seems reasonable. All right. Agenda cards. I do really appreciate that under the section of agenda cards, any constant abilities and or forced abilities on agenda cards' A sides are still in effect when resolving the B side. Thank you. It didn't come up often, but thank you.
It does raise questions though. It's typically not important because typically forced effects on the agenda stick through all of the agendas.
Yeah. It specifically had problems in Dunwich in the Miskatonic Museum scenario, because whenever the hunting horror would come into play, it on the front side it would gain a token which made it stronger, but if it came in on the back side, it technically that card wasn't in effect.
I see.
That's an ancient example, but that is an example that I can think of where this cleans it up, and they fixed that in the Return to Dunwich set, where they're like, yeah, the forced ability is still in effect, like they clarified that for that instance, but now they're just blanket statements. This is just carrying through.
Yeah, it's what it should be.
Yeah.
It was just a thought when I was that it does raise some other questions that may pop up
Yep.
if there are different forced effects on different agendas, but you're still technically on like agenda one, even if you're advancing. So
Yeah. Attacks of opportunity. I don't really know what changed here, but each time an investigator engaged with one or more ready enemies spends an action that is not a fight, evade, parlay, or resign action, each of those enemies attacks them.
my
After all attacks of opportunity are made, the investigator resolves the ability which provoked the attacks.
my guess is that either parlay was added because it might
Parlay
have only
was
been in the parlay section and not
maybe,
in the attack opportunity section.
yeah, but yeah, I'm not sure. But like Parlay's always been on the list of. I don't know. It's just it's highlighted red. There's something that they like. Maybe they just had it worded wrong before. I don't know, or
Yeah,
they
probably
they
just a
missed
change in
parlay.
wording.
Yeah. Clues. The first time a location. I do also appreciate this one. The first time a location is revealed or entered or enters play revealed, even during setup, a number of clues equal to its clue value is placed on that location from the token pool. Period. This means that if a location leaves play or flips, it doesn't immediately get all of its clues back in Chapter 2.
Hmm.
To be totally fair, though, there are two scenarios I can think of, one in Dark Matter and one in Bloodborne, that this rule would screw up because those are built on when this location comes back into play, it gets its clues. So, for
Oh yeah,
Chapter 2, however, they're
you just
making it a
need to
firm
have that.
rule.
Yeah, you just need to like specify that rule.
Yep. Well, and again, in Chapter 1, it was just totally fine, but as like a blanket for Chapter 2 going forward, I'm glad that they specified that. Do, do, do.
So
Immune. They've added 4 words to the section on immune. If a card is immune to a specified set of effects, for example, immune to treachery card effects or immune to player card effects, it cannot be targeted or directly affected by effects belonging to that set of cards. Um, we're going to talk about why that's important when we get to the frequently asked questions part of this.
yeah, because I'm sure people were targeting immune things, but just not getting to, but not resolving them, but getting to resolve other effects.
Yeah, and then there was also a question. The big question was about Miguel's weakness, signature
Yeah,
weakness.
yeah, it's
So they clarified that. For massive, they clarified that when resolving a so I think originally, don't quote me on this, but I think originally it was massive enemies attack like everybody simultaneously, and then it was massive enemies attack each investigator one at a time. And that's what the current rule is. A massive enemy, if it's engaged with multiple investigators, hits each of them separately and one at a time. They added now, when resolving a massive enemy's attack, if an investigator becomes engaged with the enemy, that investigator will be added to the list of targets the enemy will attack. So if you wait for attacks to initiate and then somehow shoop de whoop your way in, you still get hit.
sure.
Like, I'm fine with it. It's just funny.
Yeah, sure.
Um, Parlay abilities are exclusively resolved by playing cards or activating abilities and are indicated by the bold parlay action designator. Sure. I think that's more clarifying that there is no basic parlay action, I
Yeah, that's
think.
fair.
Replenish,
Looks like
which,
Replenish was just added.
yeah, which Replenish has been around for a while, but I think it's nice to just have the clarification for any questions.
Hmm.
If instructed to replenish one or more tokens on a card, place that many tokens on that card up to but not exceeding its stated quantity of those tokens. A card with uses can have its uses replenished up to but not exceeding its uses X. A location can have its clues replenished up to but not exceeding its clue value. If a card is already at or above its stated quantity of a given token type, it cannot have those tokens replenished. totally reasonable. You're just telling me how it works. Uh, reward cards. This was important. So reward cards are new to Chapter 2. And
Mhm.
the awkward thing about them, and I kind of figured this is how they worked, but it was kind of weird because they didn't say it. But a reward card that is earned is permanently added to that player's collection of player cards and may be included by any decks that they build in the future. Which roughly translates to I have earned the reward card from Brethren of Ash from playing Brethren of Ash, which means I can use it. But under the rules, Nick, sorry, you have not played through Brethren of Ash, and therefore have not earned that reward card, and therefore may not use it.
Sure.
That's what they're. But like, it is kind of the clarification is that it's not tied to the investigator deck that you were playing.
Sure. Like,
I mean, I at least thus
it's
far
just
the
the standalone rewards that that they're doing with other things. Sorry,
so
I've come down to be a little ho hum on these. I don't think
so
they lean into the idea as well.
the first reward that came with the set or with Brethren of Ash, I it's a fine like here's how like reward card like here's an example of a reward card and I'm like it's fine but you could have also just made this a neutral permanent and it would have been just as good. So like I I'm a little like about that. The they teased the one for the upcoming Children of Blood set, and
Yeah,
that actively uses the Children of Blood token mechanic.
yeah, I agree.
So like
It's a cool
that
thing.
one's I'm a little more like interested.
Yeah. I still have a question about it.
Sure.
What's the difference between the reward card and a standalone scenario like reward card for completing the standalone?
So those are those are not reward traded.
I know.
A
I'm
and
not.
B,
Yeah.
to be more explicit, you are only ever allowed one reward card.
Like in your deck.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's a wonderful limitation. Okay. Cool.
I player can may does it say? Yeah, a deck cannot include more than one reward card with the permanent keyword. Oh.
I bet
Thus
you.
far,
I bet you most rewards will be permanent.
yes.
But my question was not necessarily as mechanical.
Sure.
It was how do I put this? You only ever unlock rewards once.
Yep.
So my question to you is, what's the difference?
All the previous like standalone reward friend like story rewards that you made playing through a campaign and whatnot were attached to your deck.
I know. Okay.
This just
But
decouples them.
but I'm asking you, I'm going to ask you a more meta question.
Sure.
What's the difference? Play what?
Uh what's the
Fun.
difference? So
Game design wise, what's the difference? Like they're attached to a player? Okay.
the so the a problem that people okay, I'm sorry if this doesn't directly address your question, but in my
I
way to
am.
like
This is a thought provoking question.
sure. A problem that a lot of people had with the standalones and whatnot beforehand, where it's like, yeah, it's cool that I got this really cool ally that I unlocked, but now I have, if I want to use the monstrous transformation, for example, I have to play through Rougarou. And the general community consensus is that the community generally doesn't like adding standalones into campaigns.
Mhm.
So there had been a cry for or call a request by the community for years of like, hey, can we have like rules for how to play these cool assets, unique assets, or whatever, but like just deck build with them basically. And so the first reward card changes up your deck building.
Mhm.
And then the second one changes, again, lets you interact with that blood mechanic. I had actually been kicking around an idea
Mhm.
for like a house rule that I called the library archives,
Mhm.
and it was going to let you play with the like let you basically grab a story asset that you, the player, had previously earned and add it to your deck at deck creation. And then they came out with the reward card, and I'm like, cool. So I've got a draft of it. I'm working on the wording of it, but I've got my library archives card. I'm planning on bringing it to Arkham Con, where it's a reward card. It's permanent, and you get to include a non-permanent story reward that you, the player, have previously earned.
Okay. But so I still want to raise an important point.
Sure.
Okay. If this has been a thing in the community and they've asked it long enough, one, I'm not surprised that now we're getting smaller campaigns because now getting these rewards and then doing that. I still think it's weird that they're adding it to players because it doesn't really make sense.
It's unique. It doesn't fit with the flow of everything else they've done.
It also just doesn't make sense.
It
Don't
doesn't
get me
fit
wrong.
into their
I
like
love
rule
legacy
system.
games. I love legacy games. It doesn't fit with the game design fun loop of Arkham.
Yeah.
It does not fit with the game of Arkham. And that's why like when I first heard about them, I thought, "Oh, well this is a neat idea." But then when we learned more about what they were doing, I'm like, "Oh, but they're not going to utilize it in a way that I think is beneficial." Because I also saw the one for Children of Blood. I'm like, "That's cool." But to me, that's just a story reward for completing that campaign. That's literally just the game design thoughts they did and put it to something else that the community has been
It's a
asking for.
it's a story reward that gets added to your collection.
So that is what I just said.
I know, but like if the question is how is it different, that's the difference, but like it's just in this awkward limbo.
That's what I mean, though. They're
Yeah.
not different. So here's why I'm going to say this. So the game of Magic the Gathering is at kind of a crossroads in its life where it's going to need to start making choices. Um, Weird to say, considering how old the game is, uh, and that it's kind of in this precipice moment, because they have all these universes beyond and various other sets where Magic the Gathering and the community of Magic the Gathering and the company are at vastly different points on what they want.
Okay.
Um, so there is a rule very similar to the unique rule in Arkham, where they have a legend rule. I know you know what it is, where that a player can only control a legend of a given name, only one copy of it on their side of the board.
It used to
Now,
be global, which is how Arkham does it, but
yes,
now it's per player.
the legend rule has changed many times over the years. Used to be global, then it was various other things. The whole, but the one of the main things is that uh, uh, um, the legend rule is also very important because it defines a whole format called Commander, which is the most popular way to play Magic the Gathering.
Yep.
Now,
Or EDH for those who remember that.
for those who are old as us, yes.
I haven't played Magic in forever, and that's how
Yes,
I think of it first.
it is more widely known now as Commander for most people. Um, but the an important note is that because of all the various other properties that they're kind of stapling Magic the Gathering to, or stapling onto Magic the Gathering, uh, there's a lot of more legendary characters in each of these other IPs, because all these
Yep.
named characters they're making legends.
Yep.
So it was floated by the company, not by the players, to change the legend rule in a way to give another type. So creatures have types, so the macro
Yep.
types and subtypes. And they wanted to get another word called unique in there, so someone could have a unique legend, so that the legend rule text would be part of the unique, and the legend would effectively just be a tag that you could just use, so that you could have more than one copy of it on the field, so that they could effectively change the rules of the game, but still sell as many legends as they want and
Yeah.
not dilute the set. Uh, not this. This is gonna sound more cynical. That's what rewards feel like to me. Is that we
Okay.
made this new card type. I'm glad that there's a rule and that you can only have one in your deck. But the
Yeah.
fact that it's like we made this new thing that is asking for what people wanted, but we never really knew how to incorporate standalone scenarios into campaigns. So these story assets have always been a weird thing in the first place. So now we're trying to incorporate them in. And I'm like, well, that still is in a super awkward place because you might as well have just called it a different thing and not reward. You should have called it something more like, I don't know, secrets, or ancient knowledge,
Sure.
or touched by the mythos, right, or something like that. Just things like that is what I would have called it instead of rewards, and then
So
do the same thing. Hear me out. Just hear me
no, no,
out.
go right ahead.
This is me getting on a small game design soapbox. Because saying that you get to do this and then the player gets to do it, right? And now it's unlocked and in your deck building pool. Doesn't make sense for Arkham. Like because I did not, this is impromptu, so I'm trying to make sure I phrase this right since it's being recorded. Different. If you got these mid campaign and then got to use it for a full campaign. You unlock a level 3 reward in the first scenario, and then you get to use it for the full campaign, but you can't use it outside of the campaign.
Sure.
So that is a thing for me. That to me is a more accurate way of using this in my mind. Um, because this is not a game where Arkham has never been a game. I mean, no matter how much they have left that door open to it possibly being that, it has never been a game where exploring through campaigns multiple times to find hidden secrets or make permanent changes has been a part of this.
No.
And having this sort of thing, while I enjoyed this kind of fun of looking for hidden depth and doing this, if it's just going to be you made it to the end of the campaign, you get this reward. One, boring. Two, because it doesn't reward that type of fun. Two, it's just not also there. Like it just doesn't they are trying to add what I would call a legacy style mechanic to the game, but it's not that kind of game. So like it's just like saying it's just effectively saying, here, now you've beaten this once. Now you get this card that you can add to your deck building pool. And I'm like, that's just weird to me. It's just weird.
I don't like how they're scenario cards. They are they are included. The one example that we have thus far, they are part of the third scenario um in
Scenario
the it
cards?
they have the scenario set icon. So like if you were to sort the cards, it would be part of that scenario, whatever the final scenario for the chapter 2 intro scenario like set is. And I if you want I really wish that they were just congratulations, you bought this thing, here's a player card to add to your um here's a player card to add to your collection that is themed around what we're doing here. Or if it's like the Children of Blood one, where it's like you bought Children of Blood. Here's a card that lets you use Children of Blood stuff in non-Children of Blood campaigns, if you want to. That just gets added to your pool generally. The fact that it is a scenario card is what gets under my skin a little bit.
Yes.
um,
I said, I just think it's weird because I
it's
just think they should be called different things and treated differently.
yeah,
Mostly because I just think it's outside of the fun loop. Like, this game has a lot of ways it can use its own loop to make a lot of
yep,
fun. And I just think this is outside it. And not, I do not think the game is planning to move outside of it from what I see. I could be proven wrong, and the years may make this take be a bad one. But that
sure,
is my thought because I remember being excited about the idea, but uh, I don't know if I believe. I don't believe in the design behind it yet. I would need to see
sure.
it come out.
One point of defense of this, Earthborn Rangers did a epic multiplayer style scenario, and as part of this, if you played in it, you got a reward card that the way that it works is if you played in this event, you can just have that reward is available to you, even at deck
Sure,
creation.
sure, but that's like saying I went to this event and I got a promo card that is like legal in the game.
Yeah, that's more in that line, but yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you that I don't love how it's currently being
I
like.
am I am just saying I don't. I think what if that little bit of history is nice, knowing that people are wanting those story like rewards and things like that, and to be able to use it. I just don't. I think it'd be better personally if they were effectively locked to campaigns. That you get them, you can use them, and then you can have more of them in campaigns as well.
Sure.
Especially because then they're effectively locked. Because
Dark.
what was that?
I was sorry. I was just going to say Dark Matter actually has a set of upgrades that are unique to Dark Matter that you can only purchase while playing Dark Matter if you want to purchase them at all.
See, this is what the not yeah. So once again, the reason why I probably need to play Dark Matter. Me and this person seem to just have a similar brain. But that's just my whole thing, my whole spiel on that. It just always is weird, and it doesn't really make sense because I'm pretty sure people will just ignore this.
Yeah, I don't really care if you guys use the reward cards and haven't played Brethren of Ash,
People will
if I'm
just
being
do it.
honest.
People will just
Yes.
do it.
Are you I want to make sure you got whatever like
Have
that you
put
got.
the box away.
Okay, you're happy. We're happy.
Yes.
Back to the FAQ. They have a section on searching. I feel like this is much like the section on replenish. So when a player is instructed to search for a card, that player looks at all of the cards in the searched area without revealing them, though I do appreciate that while the cards are in the process of being searched, they are not considered to have left their current game area. So I look at the top 3 cards of my deck, they're still part of my deck.
Yes, that's this is one of those things. As someone who can say that I have read through the rules reference to Magic, even though I don't have it memorized and like can't like recall things from it, I have looked through it. Uh, this is just something that is just in my brain of like, yeah, that just makes sense. And I'm like, oh right, that should be said though. People will ask questions.
Yes. Also, moving on to the next one, skill tests. Speaking of Magic, we don't have the stack. We have the
Yes.
queue. This is new. So in skill checks now, they have clarified that a skill test cannot initiate during another skill test.
Okay.
If during the resolution of a skill test another skill test would initiate, instead the second skill test is queued and does not initiate until the first skill test has finished resolving.
It's
If
fine.
the first skill test in a queue was part of an action, any subsequent skill tests do not initiate until until that action has finished resolving.
Sure. How many effects of these exist?
It's more of the like anything that would be like, oh, you get to take an immediate action.
Yeah, I was more just trying to think how many ways. I don't know how many things you can do to trigger skill tests within skill tests.
Not a whole lot. I'm going to get on my soapbox that I was where I really wish they had just made it so that you can't like that they would that this was more that you can't trigger like I really wanted this to be a you can't use the Rod of Carnimagos in the middle of a skill check, but you know, that's just
Like I
me.
said, it's uh a weird question. I just don't. The only way I could think it would matter is if you're somehow triggering a skill test with a skill card.
I think the reason why it matters is because they want to make sure that if I spent $2 to give myself +2 intellect for this test and somehow triggered an intellect test in the middle of this test, that the first test fully resolves and therefore my +2 intellect bonus, for example, is over, and all the skill cards that I used for that are discarded and everything before the system restarts and picks up to start another skill test. I think they're trying to clear that up, maybe.
Well, that makes all sense. I'm literally just trying to think of what effects exist that would trigger skill tests in the middle of skill tests. I can't think of any.
Not off the top of my head, but I'm sure someone will tell me.
I am sure they exist, but I just can't think of. The only thing I can think of is like a skill card that lets you move, like immediately or something, and then triggers running shoes.
Sure, sure, that's not bad.
That would be the only thing I can think of. I don't know the specific combination of things. That would be like something like that. And that's fine. This all makes sense. Uh,
Well,
I
just
was just
use
literally just trying to think of. I'm just literally trying to think of a scenario where it really matters.
um Olivier can free trigger during your turn, move to a connecting location.
That can happen, and then
So,
if you have running shoes, that can
and then if you
happen.
have running shoes, then you could trigger running shoes to immediately start a check and a check.
Yeah, because that will do that. And then if that location also has a check, like when you enter or something.
Yep.
Okay, there we go. Perfect.
So you just have to resolve them. You queue the checks, I guess, in order of them initiating.
Yes.
Great.
Simple enough.
Triggering condition. Sorry.
That's it. Simple enough.
Yep. Triggering condition. If an effect triggers if Or the first time a triggering condition is met should be treated as conditionally triggering at that timing point, and therefore simultaneously to the resolution of all related effects. Sure. They clarified unique scenario cards, and then we've got Victory X. If a card with the Victory X is attached to an enemy and that enemy is defeated, add it to the victory display instead of discarding it. That makes sense. I'm glad that's clarified.
Is that not in here before?
It was not explicitly in here before, but it makes sense.
Seems like a big oversight.
I mean, for the most part, they would say if this card would be discarded, add it to the victory display, but now it's just, I killed the thing, the card attached to it goes to the victory display. So,
Yeah, that's fine. It just seems like an oversight.
yeah. Scenario resolution. When any scenario card directs the players to a resolution indicated by the text arrow R number, they have completed the scenario. They must then refer to the resolution text matching that number in the campaign guide to discover the outcome of the current scenario.
Mhm.
Then this is something that was confusing to me. Maybe they're just trying to be more explicit about it, but in the section on framework event details, they have put in red the player windows for free triggers.
I think
They're
that's just so that it's more obvious.
Yeah, they're where I thought that they would be, um, but I'm glad that they're there. That is a thing that I go back to from time to time.
Thing.
So let's get to. We've got some card errata. Machete should read if you succeed and the attacked enemy is the only enemy engaged with you. Scrape by should read you succeeded the skill test by 0 instead. Endurance, hey, you should have that wild icon like everybody else does. Decoy trap should read evade that enemy, you get +1 skill value instead of +1 book or +1 agility, I think. Oh no, that's sorry, glassing. Oh, I guess glassing also has that issue. Lie in wait. If you succeed, you may discard lie in wait for this attack to deal +1 damage. And Hunter's Instinct. If there are no supplies on Hunter's Instinct, discard it. If those are just cleaning those up, those are all already operated how more or less I thought they should be.
Mhm.
Let's get to the FAQ. This was one that I've already discussed. Can Daniela Reyes use her reaction ability on the double action ability of Sledgehammer? The answer is no. Well, kind of. You have to have an action to spend to do it. Because you get a free action effectively by when you trigger her reaction, and then you have to have the extra action to spend to do it. I weird thing I just thought of having just read through the gaining actions at the start of your turn. So if I only gain actions at the start of my turn, then I don't have any actions during your turn, even if you went before me. So even if it was your turn, I wouldn't have the spare action to do it, but I guess that would just be a. Why
No,
couldn't you guys just make it you gain a fight action? Why couldn't you just make it that easy?
no, it's literally this. This answer is kind of a hedge against themselves because it effectively leaves room for them. Like if they just said no, uh, then they would be going against the rules they're setting. If there was some way for someone to gain actions at the like say at the start of the investigation phase, if there was a card that did that, and it can be in Daniela, now it can work.
Sure, I guess. Like the problem that I have is they give you the example that Daniela, if she has a spare action, can use the double action respond. But the only time that she's ever going to have, normally, without other shenanigans, the only time that she's ever going to have a spare action to spend on this is during her turn.
Correct.
And if it was just, why couldn't it have just been everybody gains 3 actions at the start of the investigation phase? That would clean this up immediately.
Well, I mean, it's fine, right?
No,
It's fine.
it's counterintuitive.
No, I mean, it's fairly intuitive. It's just this answer isn't simple. Because you're right. The answer is no, but then they effectively outline how it could work. There's just no scenario on anyone else's turns that this would matter.
Okay. I don't want
The,
to. I
the answer to the
already am
question
upset
and
about
the
Danielle Reyes as it is. I just want to move on, if I'm being honest with you.
okay.
Like, that sounded harsher than I meant it to be, but like, they mucked her up so bad. And they didn't have to.
I didn't feel like they did. She feels pretty understandable, but
Well, again, I think I told you this. I spent like 15 minutes talking about why this was a rules question to begin with.
and I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, this was my guessed answer.
Yeah, but not to totally rehash that. If they meant it that way, they should have just said fight action. But they didn't, which makes me immediately go, so what is different about this phrasing than the previous phrasing? But there is no difference between this phrasing and the previous phrasing, which makes me go, then why did you change it?
Just humans, I guess.
Can the reaction ability on Danielle raise or the service revolver, which effectively means after you get hit, you get to immediately respond with an attack, target an enemy that attacked from a different location or which has moved to a different location after attacking as a result of the elusive keyword? Yes.
It's because they haven't left yet.
Well, no, even if I get hit by something at a location away from me, I can still retaliate against it because the abilities on those cards specifically tell me that I can attack the thing that attacked me.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
So I
That
can
would make
do it at distance.
yeah, that would make sense.
What cards can Miguel de la Cruz use to help fight and evade his signature weakness, the feline hybrid? This was interesting when I read through this. So the feline hybrid's immunity to player card effects mean that it cannot be directly affected or targeted by an ability on a player card. For example, he could not attack the feline hybrid with the action ability on Pocket Knife, as the resulting fight action would attempt to target the hybrid. Similarly, while he can trigger the makeshift bomb in response to the hybrid entering his location, it would deal no damage to the hybrid, as the player card effect itself is the one attempting to place the damage. However, if Miguel were to attempt a basic fight action against the hybrid, and a card like Vicious Blow was committed, it would resolve the full effects and the Vicious Blow would deal +1 damage, because it modifies the basic attack, not directly targets the feline.
Sure, that makes sense.
That makes sense. A little convoluted, but makes sense.
Yeah.
Can Marie Lambeau heal or be healed by another investigator while Call de Guinea is in her threat area? So Call de Guinea means that you cannot heal damage. That's what it says. So she cannot have any effects that heal damage from any card. However, other people could still heal her while it is in play, which makes sense.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I just said okay. Yeah, so it's just meant to be limiting her.
Yep. Can guerrilla tactics be used to fight or evade an unengaged enemy with the aloof keyword? Yes, but only if that enemy is at a connecting location. Guerrilla tactics' ability has the option to resolve as if you are engaged with an enemy at a connecting location. If that enemy is aloof, this effect causes the play restriction applied by aloof to be fulfilled. However, if you do not choose the target of an enemy at a connecting location, you do not also apply the as if effect and therefore cannot target an aloof enemy at your location with either test.
Huh.
I
Neat.
get it. I kind of wish it just worked across the board, but I get it.
Neat. Not a question I had considered.
All right. And then we get to the optional rules sections. There's no taboo. There's no taboo, but they did add a few ultimatums and boons. So they added, thank you so much, the ultimatum of malevolence. Easy or standard difficulty only. While playing, use the hard and expert side of the scenario reference card.
Yay!
Thank you for making it official. And then there's the Ultimatum of the Spiral, campaign mode only. After investigators defeated, add a random basic weakness to their deck.
Neat.
And then for the boons, there's the Boon of the Morrigan. When a player would add a random basic weakness to their deck during deck building, they instead draw 3 random basic weaknesses, return one of their choice to the collection, and select one at random from the remaining 2. Thank you again for codifying this sort of thing. Most people were already doing something like this. Boon of Nodens, hard or expert difficulty only. When playing, use the easy or standard side of the scenario reference card.
Sure.
Again, thank you. Boon of Persephone, campaign mode only. If an investigator is defeated, they gain 3 additional experience.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And that's that.
Huzzah!
Oh, I did. Sorry, they also have they noted fight, evade, engage, and parlay under action types. Or maybe they were just clarifying something. I don't know. Overall, this seems fine. My griping about certain things aside, overall, I really like what they're doing with this.
Pretty straightforward to me.
Mm-hmm. Any final comments?
Not particularly.
All right. Well, if anybody wants to get in contact with me about anything that we've said, feel free to reach out to me at therestrictedcollection@gmail.com. Otherwise, you can find me around Reddit and Discord as Head Librarian Chad. Nick, thanks as always for joining me.
Huzzah!
And thank you all for listening. Not to just sprint to the end there, but like, if we're done, we're done.
We're done, yeah. Let's get us out of here. We have things that we need to do.